Hi everyone, in this video we'll see how to use the event option, custom event type option provided in Tracer to trace the custom event types. So to use this feature, let's follow these steps. So first step, we'll add a custom event type in Tracer, which is straightforward. And second one is sending those events, like sending those custom events from our app to Tracer, and where to exactly use this feature. And the fourth one is what are the OOTB rules that are currently using this particular option of custom events. So now first let's go through the first step, like how to add custom event in Tracer. So here let me go to the Tracer. In the Tracer we have this event type option and a text box where I can add my custom event type. So after entering your custom event type, click on add button. Like there is no restriction on the like a naming or any a naming convention or what should be added here. You can add the text and you can click on add button, which will add your custom event type in the event types in the displayed event type. So all these event types, Pega is handling it from our end. Like whenever you use a data page or whenever you run a flow, so Pega will trace all those events automatically. But for custom events, we have to handle it. So we have added a custom event here, and we have to send those custom events ourselves because Pega won't trigger them automatically. So I have my custom event type added here. So let's select it so that we can trace it. Click on OK button. Now let's see how we can send custom events from our application to Tracer. So for this, we have one function called log trace event, which will send events from our app to Tracer. So here, whenever we run a data page or run a activity or data transform, Pega sends events to Tracer. So it will use this function, and it has around 10 parameters. Among them, only 2 are mandatory. Like Pega uses this method and sends the events to Tracer for the activities that we run. So for all the Pega provided events, it will handle it automatically. So each row corresponds to a event. For each row, that function, whichever is present here, log trace event, it will be triggered once. Whenever this function is triggered once, we will get a event in the tracer. So for all the existing event types, Pega handles it. It will trigger that function to trace all the rules. But for our function, we have to trigger or run this log trace event to add a row in the tracer. So let's see the details about this function. So it is taking around 10 parameters, and among them 2 parameters are mandatory because event type. So event type, it differs from event to event. So for data pages, whenever we have to trace a data page, Pega triggers the event with this first parameter as a data page. If we are going to trace flow rule, Pega sends or triggers this function by like replacing event type with flow. If we are going to trace a decision tree, Pega sends the event type parameter value as a decision tree. So in our scenario, as uh, we have created a custom event here. So instead of sending all the existing event types that are available, we'll send our custom event type. Whatever we have added it in Pega, we'll send that event type here. And the second mandatory parameter is rule set, because we can see in tracer. So all the tracing will be done based on the event type and tracer. So first mandatory parameter, event will be traced only when it is selected here, and event will be traced only when the rule set that event belongs to is selected here. So let's say I have here I have selected rule set as Pega rules, but when it comes to tracer, if I haven't selected that rule set here, the event will not be traced. So it is mandatory to us to send this parameter event type and rule set, because based on the selections we have done in the tracer, these event types like this will be shown in the tracer. So let's see a sample of how Pega might have sent this trace event. So let's open a stream event. So I have selected a stream event. Let's compare with this function. So here we can see Pega has sent this event related to stream rule with event type as stream rules and event name, the second parameter, as the stream rule, and the step status. So we have the step status uh, and also step method, rule set we are able to see here, and the event key we are able to see, and also the step method we can see, and Java stack trace. So if the Java stack trace is true, we'll see like a stack trace here in this case Pega has sent it as false for the stream rule, so we are not able to see the stack trace. And for the primary page parameter and the primary page and the parameter page, we are dynamically passing them by using these functions get primary page and get parameter page. In this function we are passing dynamically the primary page and parameter page, which is basically here. So here Pega has sent this as a primary page and the parameter page as this one. So we are seeing all these details here. So in case if we want to check how Pega might have sent this one, so same stream rule. So what it has done is it has sent something like this. It has sent uh, optional parameter as well. It has triggered an event with these details, step status. So for step status, we can check here. This is the column which basically corresponds to step status. So something like this one. Good. And the rule set, basically we can check here Pega WB, and event key, and it has dynamically passed the parameter page and primary page, and for Java stack trace it has sent as false. So to add this single row onto the tracer, Pega has triggered this particular function with these parameters, so we are able to see this row in the tracer now, that is this row. And you can also see same details is displayed here. So step method, good, step event type stream rule, event key, we are able to see event key here, what is the step status, and to see the parameter page we can click here and check the parameter page that we have sent using this function. So this is how Pega handles like send events to the tracer for all the event types that it has provided automatically. For all the event types that it has provided here, it's handling it itself by triggering that function. So in our case, we have to trigger it from as we have added our custom event type, we have to trigger from our end. So we'll use the same method. So instead of passing all the parameters, we'll just pass the mandatory parameters. I'm calling the same function here. I'm passing the my event type that I have added to the tracer, and I'm sending the rule set that if you select this rule set in the tracer, then only this event will be displayed. So and I'm passing all the parameter page, primary page, and also stack trace as false, and I'm sending all the step method status and everything as blank. So let's use this function and trigger send an event to the tracer now from our app. So for this, what we have to do is, I will go to our app, I will create one activity. We'll call this function using a Java step. So I'm using the same function and I'm sending only the mandatory parameters. So saving the activity here, I'm telling I'm sending a event of this type, my custom event type, and I'm sending it to the rule set Pega rules, and all other fields are like a blank. I don't want any details in the tracer. So let's save this and check it now. So I will turn on the tracer for this activity and I will go to the settings page, and in the settings page I'll make sure my custom event type. So my custom event type, I have selected it. So same, my custom event type, I'm sending an event with that type. So I'm selecting it and I'll make sure that I have selected this Pega rules rule set. So let's see, yeah, Pega rules. So we have selected all the correct options to capture this event that we are going to send now. So let's run the activity now. So activity is return success. So here we can now see our event got captured here. So I have sent an event only with one parameter, like only one with one value, that is event type. So you can see event type. We are not seeing the like stack trace, and even the parameter page is empty. We haven't sent anything. Even the primary page is empty, and all the other details mostly they will be marked as undefined. So we got our event, custom event. Let's try the same thing. So I will just remove the checkbox here of my custom event type and try to run the activity. So now you can see our custom event is not traced because we have not selected it. So now I will select, let me select my custom event type again. Now I will unselect the rule set to which we are sending this event. Let me select any other rule set, because at least one rule set should be set. So I'm removing the rule set to which this event is sent. So let me run this activity again. Now activity is success, but we won't see any event captured here. So the main thing is those two mandatory parameters related to rule set and the event type, those must be selected in the tracer to capture the event that we are sending from our app. Now I will run it. So we can see our event got added here. So like there are no like details added here because we have sent an empty, like most of the parameters are empty. We are not seeing the other details or values that are required. So this is like for the second step. As per our steps, we have completed the second step. We have added a custom event in tracer, and now we are sending uh, those, we are triggering those custom events from our application to send them to the tracer and capture them. So now coming to the third step, uh, so where to use this feature? So this feature of adding custom events and triggering them and checking them in the tracer is mainly used in debugging of Java steps and the functions. So whenever we have Java steps added in our activities or some other place, and also in the functions where we usually write Java code, we can add these we can add this we can use this feature of custom event types by calling this function, log to tracer function, and we can check those details in the tracer. So usually when it comes to debugging of JavaScript, usually we'll follow one everyone follows a method like using olog methods. Like we use olog.infoforce, and we'll pass whatever details we have to trace. Let's say there is a complex Java step, and we are not able to figure what's the issue occurring there. So we'll add this olog info first messages so that we can see what's happening, and we can uh, check, we can add these olog messages in for few steps, and we can check whether what is the status of the our code or value of a particular property at that particular step. So we usually use in olog messages. We use olog.info first, and we provide whatever details uh, we have to see. So this olog message usually won't send anything to the tracer. It will directly post this message in the log files. So if we go to the log files, we can see we can run this activity to check the details, or to check our logic whether it's working fine or not. We check the values in the log files after adding this whole log messages. This is like an alternate approach of using log trace event, which sends events to the tracer, and it won't log anything in the it won't log messages in the log files. It won't show anything in the log files. This will just show messages in the tracer file. So so depending upon the scenario, we can decide like which one to use to trace our coding Java steps. So first one, if we just want to see the value, what's occurring, and what is value at that particular step, we can just use these log messages. And if we want to see additional details, like what are the parameters present at that particular point of these Java steps, or what is the primary page, if you want to see the context when this event occurs, right, we can go with this log trace event where we can see everything in the tracer. So let's trigger this now and see the difference between the log messages and the Java trace event, custom tracer event. So let me see if yeah, let's run this now. So to debug the Java step, I have added as two events. One is telling that Java step started, and another one is telling Java step ended. So here, yeah, this one triggered Java step started, and this one triggered Java step ended. And I have added log messages as well, which we usually use. So to check these things, we have to go to the log files, or Pega log file, and here we can see Java step added, Java step ended. So it will show only these details like Java step added and Java step ended. We won't see any other details. But in case of tracer events, what we can see additionally is we can see other details. If we pass all the parameters correctly, we can see the primary page, parameter page, maybe additional properties that are present at that particular point of time. If we see the last parameter of this function, optional properties, we can send optional properties as well as a string list. So to use these things, we can use this custom event type, or if we just want to see the value, we can go with the log message, using log messages as well. So this is one usage, and this is only used for tracing or debugging Java steps and the rule utility functions in Pega. Now coming to the last step, OOTB rules that are using this feature. So we can check like what are the OOTB rules that are using this particular feature of custom event types. So let me first go to our activity and let me add a method called log message. So here we can see there is one option called send to tracer. So this send to tracer method, like this option is basically using this custom event type. So what Pega does whenever we select this option is it will trigger this method. It will use this method here. So it will just uh, whenever that option is selected, it will change the event type as log messages and event name is optional. So what else it will do is it will keep the message, this test message, in one of the fields here in the event key field, and it will add this rule set, whichever like rule set this method got triggered. So it will add this rule set in the rule set field. So now it triggers a custom event or this event is already supported by Pega. So it will trigger a event with all the details. Whenever we select that option here, send to tracer, it will trigger this method to send an event to tracer with this event type and message and other rule set name. So if we trace this now, let me trace this. Let me select the rule set so that you can see, and here we can see this is the event type that log message method triggers whenever we select that option. So log message is selected and we are passing Pizza Hut as the rule set. Now here we can see this is the method, this is the event that particular checkbox is triggering. So this checkbox is triggering a function to add a row into the tracer with these details. So in the tracer we can check log message is triggering a event, log message is sending a test message or some other details. It is sending all these details to the tracer because we have selected that option. So this Pega is using OOTB rules are using these things. So let's now we'll remove that. So here I have selected log message as well as Pizza Hut, but I have removed that option. Now we can see there is no event triggered. So these are the messages from the log message method, but the event is not triggered. Log message event with whatever message we have added, it's not posted to the tracer. This is one place where this OOTB rules are using this function. And another thing which is useful to us is uh, there is one function which is easier to use. So here we are adding all these stuff from our end. So instead of doing all these things to trigger a tracer event, we have one function called send debug message to tracer. if we open this function, send debug message to tracer, we can see it's just asking for two parameters, message and rule set. That are the mandatory parameters. Here we already discussed that there are two mandatory parameters. One is what is the event type and what is the rule set. So it's taking the rule set as mandatory parameter and the message that we want to post as another parameter. So if we check the Java step, right, here we can see they are calling the same function here, log trace event, and they have fixed the event type. They are triggering this event with a fixed event type. So they're always sending events to tracer with event type as debug, and the message that we have provided, it will populate dynamically, and the rule set we have provided, it will populate dynamically. So we can basically use this function which won't it is easier to use. We just need to pass two parameters instead of writing entire these thing. We can just pass we can just call that method which will always triggers the debug event. So it's always triggers the debug event here. Let's check in tracer whether we have that like a debug event by default or not. See, so if we open the tracer, so there is no debug event by default. So what we can do is we can add a debug event. Okay, it's already there. So yeah, it's already there. We can select debug event here, and what we can do is like we can simply, instead of calling all these things, we can simply use this function which in the backend calls triggers event here. So let's see any use cases if they are present. So let's go to this Java step. So in this OOTB rule, let's see how they have used this. So here we can see they are using this function to send a message. So let's trigger this from our end. So I will call this function and I will give so instead of writing entire method, we can just use this existing function called send debug message to tracer, which basically triggers a debug event, and let's trace it in here. So I have selected debug, I have selected the rule set that we are passing, and click off run. We can see this event got triggered. So here we can see event type is debug, and we got the message, test message, and other details. So yeah, we can use this method for tracing or debugging Java steps easily, and this is an alternative approach that we can use in place of the olog log methods or other things. Which this also provides the context of the current step page and also the parameters page. So this is so this is the end of the video, and here we have covered everything about the custom events and its usage. So thank you.